Hey Duelist, welcome to the discussion. You're listening to episode 5 of Duelist Discussion. I'm one of your hosts, Devin Casey. Joining me today is no one. I'm all alone. Actually, joining me today is good buddy Ryan Drover.
Hello.
What's his name? Richard Burrell?
Sheesh.
And Alex Eaton.
I don't even get a title?
You're not a good buddy or anything. You're just Alex Eaton.
You're no one.
That guy Alex. Well, we're continuing along with the beta-sodes, our beta episodes, where we assume our listeners may not have access to the beta. We don't want to bore them with vague gameplay concepts that may not translate well without having experienced the game for themselves, Figuratively, we're waiting for Christmas, or whenever Hearthstone launches, to open our presents along with the majority of our listeners. Except for part of us that got a beta key, but we'll go into that in a second. We are not a min-maxing podcast. That is, we're gonna spare our listeners the number crunching. We're not gonna necessarily dwell on theory crafting. Our motto is easy listening. And with that said, how's it going, guys? How you doing, Ryan?
Doing well. Doing very well.
Yeah, what have you been up to lately?
Playing this beta.
Yeah. Me and Ryan
Yes.
have been sharing a beta key. I got one in the mail for no good reason. So it's been a lot of fun. How about you, Richard? How's it going?
Pretty good. I've been sharing a beta account with my friend as well.
You enjoying that?
Very much.
Nice.
Very, 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 very fun.
Excellent. And what about you, Alex? What's going on?
I ain't got shit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, sorry.
No, man, that's cool. Yeah, we can let one drop every now and then.
But yeah, no, I've just been working and playing other video games because I did not get a beta key.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. Well, so let's get started with some news. First up is there was a minor patch, another patch, very minor, that was introduced, and that's just a bunch of little bug fixes. Matchmaking music can now be adjusted. There's a bunch of cosmetic fixes and everything. Battle Rage now costs 2, down from 3 mana, and only counts on friendly characters. It's kind of a big one with warriors, and you also get more dust for disenchanting that one. Other than that, credits roll properly when viewed in any mode, and open chat windows no longer overlap challenges from friends. You can check that out at the Hearthstone site. The Heroes of the Storm, have you guys heard about that?
Yes, the MOBA.
Yeah, we talked about in a previous episode how there was speculation that was a Hearthstone expansion of some sort.
Yeah.
Turns out to be Blizzard's new massively... Man, I mess this up every time, Richard. Help me out.
Multiplayer online battle arena.
Thank you. And what exactly is that?
Well, a MOBA is basically, it's a different form of an RTS or a real-time strategy game where you control units to complete an objective. And in MOBAs, well, at least all the ones that I've played, the primary objective is to destroy the enemy base.
Okay.
And you usually control a unique champion with a certain set of skills that obviously aid in that mission.
Right. And you play League of Legends, right? That's a MOBA?
Yes.
And that's multiplayer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're in charge of one, like just one character, or what?
Yes, you control one character. Unless there are certain heroes where you might control more than one unit, but it's all one character, if that makes sense.
Okay. And you work with a team to attack another team of players and basically get past them to their base and deplete them to 0.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do you feel about a cast of Blizzard heroes as a MOBA property, title, game, thing?
I'm actually really excited for it because I love Blizzard games and I love all their characters, so this could be a major success. And because of Blizzard's reputation, they always release really good games, and
Yeah.
MOBA is one of my favorite types. So,
Do you think this is a good
No.
answer to Valve's Dota 2 or League of Legends?
I want to say yes because their fan base is so massive that it will be competition, and they have the budget to make it just as well as Riot Games has done with League of Legends
Yeah.
and Valve has done with Dota. And I don't know, but I don't feel like there would be like a competitive motive behind it though, simply because Dota did start because of a Blizzard game. It was a mod for Warcraft, the old RTS. So I don't know.
I disagree. I feel like Blizzard is taking a really keen interest in the esport market. What they're pushing Hearthstone. Obviously, they're trying to make that an esport, and we'll get into that later on. But they make a lot of money, right? Dota is making a lot of money.
Yeah, they are.
Me and Ryan both agree. Dota's a little complicated. The learning curve's a little too much, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, do you play MOBAs? What do you think?
I have dabbled, and when I say dabbled, I mean I've played maybe less than 3 hours like in my entire life. But I don't know, it just seems a little too overly complicated for me to play.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. There'll probably be loads of this mentioned at BlizzCon, and we'll go over that. But it's pretty interesting. We'll touch on that briefly. But yeah, it's all very interesting to see how they're pushed into this market, which is obviously a lucrative move, I think. Otherwise, on the forums, Zariah, who's a pretty predominant figure on the forums from Blizzard, he clarifies that the Hearthstone team plans to allow players to transfer to other regions for play. However, you will not be able to retain your progress, your decks, your cards, in a different region. Let's say you play in a North American region and you want to transfer to an Asian region of some sort. You pretty much got to start fresh. There's no plan to allow cross-region play. However, you'll still get to keep your decks, only they're exclusive to the regions you have. So your North American collection stays in North American regions, and so on and so forth. Which doesn't really make sense, because there's not like a language barrier, right? There's no chat. Zariah also sets in stone that any affiliation with WoW, like having a subscription, does not correlate with the delivery of beta keys in any way. I got a beta key. You guys don't have one, correct?
Yes.
Well, technically no, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I are
No.
sharing one, Ryan. But I did get some notes from my experience from playing the beta. It was a lot of fun, man. The hype is definitely something to be lived up to, and I wrote a bunch down for you guys. So my first thought was setting up the Battle.net account. The client, which is fairly new, and putting in the key, which I have suspected would not work. Maybe some like hacked by email or something. Kind of worried about that because these are such in such high demand. But my first thought was, is this happening? And then get into the tutorial, and it's all very beautiful. The menus look great. There's a little bit of lag, but I imagine that's because of the server stress. All these people get invites, something like several thousand invites a day. So my first thoughts are, it doesn't treat you like you're an idiot. The tutorial, there was lag in the tutorial, but like I said, that was presumably due to an increased server load. And I found it hard to compartmentalize the attack and the health of the cards in my head. Like there's an attack number, which is usually fairly low, and there's a health number, which is also depends on the mana cost of the card, and those correlate with how they interact with other cards. And I had a hard time at first memorizing which is which. And I know there's icons and everything, so I guess that's just me being kind of slow. But the game begins to be fun when you get a good idea of what your cards do, and you can begin to play quickly. I stand by my beta advantage argument, and that experience is everything, and I believe we talked about that in a previous show. I personally feel that the giant pop-ups of cards is a little much. I feel like I can't see everything as well as I'd like. Do you feel that way, Ryan?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I feel like it lingers as well.
Yeah. It's just like when you hover over a card, it takes up a large portion of the screen that I just...
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can't just hover off of it and see all your cards, because then you don't get to see all over the card.
Right. There should be some function where you can just look at your hand or something quickly, maybe.
Right. And the only reason this matters is because when you're trying to calculate a strategy for your mana cost for your cards. You can't see the mana cost of all of your cards and then still look at one card at the same time. But then again, I play on a 72-inch flat screen, so that might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure I can just scan the tops or whatever and see the cost, like the mana cost of everything.
Yeah, and again, it helps that you memorize the cards, right? You know what they do.
Yeah. Once you play extensively with a certain deck or certain cards, and you get into the rhythm of even just looking at the art, you'll know what it is.
Yeah, I know what a succubus is even by the name. I know that it's a pretty powerful card, but you're going to lose a card if you play it.
Yep.
And it's got a low mana, so it really helps to know your cards very well. So maybe that's just the key. That's just the solution to that. But I've noticed a lot of the artwork for the cards is like fan-submitted fan art. I was thinking maybe a different subtitle for this game is like Hearthstone. Man, what did I tell you, Alex? It was funny at the time. Now it's obviously not so. I don't know. Like, just they cropped all the artwork. Everything has an animation or sound, and it's so fluid and so fresh. Nothing is like stale, short of like a choir reading the tooltips to you. So everything has just got something interactive about it, especially the gold cards. Cropping artwork. Hearthstone cropping artwork is what I thought would make a good title. I know, I'm hilarious.
Ooh.
Lost my first practice match though. To the Warlock, which is the card I was trying to unlock because you started as a mage. I lost with 4 HP. And then I leveled up anyway. The RPG elements, though, they really put a tuxedo on your losses. You ever feel like you ever just feel like a loser when you're losing?
Yeah, a lot of time. Yeah, like when you just get completely steamrolled.
Well, I don't. I feel like, I did my best. Except when I'm going against a priest.
One thing that... Oh, were you going to say something, Ryan?
No, I'm just agreeing with the priest comment.
Okay. Well, one thing that I don't like is that the grind for gold.
Oh yeah, there's no
It's like 10 gold every 3 wins or something, or it's crazy.
It makes you. It's kind of. It seems like they're kind of pushing you towards buying cards.
Yeah, it makes you want to pay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I assume that's the reason why,
Right.
but
That was intended.
I mean, that's smart, for them at least financially.
If I feel actually, honestly, I'm like tempted to want to pay because I don't want to have to do this grind. That's
Right.
They nailed it as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
That's proving to be a very popular and lucrative business model.
That's Blizzard.
Yeah, they're definitely being trendy. And the games have very little dialogue for defeat. Like when you lose, they don't really say anything. It's just music. Like, you did the best you could, and that's it. Try again. Like, they don't say anything. It's just got some music, some flashy animations, make your loss not look so bad. However, like, do you remember the Dragon Ball Z games and like the tournament modes where if you lost, which was often, the announcer would just bug you like, "Oh, too bad. Try again."
Yeah.
Man, that pissed me off. Ruined my day.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, so I beat the Warlock on my second try very easily by maintaining control of the board as I was grasping the concept of that. That is, I kept all his minions in check, and he was constantly in the react position of the game. And the mage is known for control, so that wasn't too difficult to do. To further practice and acclimate myself with the Warlock deck, I practiced the Paladin, Uther Lightbringer. The mage deck was okay so far. I just lost against Uther. The class-flavored cards, though, are not really prevalent within the starter decks. The decks you start out with once you unlock the class, they don't have a whole lot of class-specific cards and techniques.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very, very like the blanket cards is what I call them.
Right.
Generic, yeah.
It's hard to get a good feel for the class if you'd really want to play it unless you spend an hour or two playing with it.
Yeah.
But I love the Stormpike Commandos, the card. He's like, I've got a huge gun.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, they definitely it's really clever, all of the just the small voice acting contributions to all the cards.
Yeah, like they're not short of anything.
No, I think it's great.
You never get tired of hearing them for some reason.
And also when you're doing the matchmaking and the little, the roll comes down and it stops on where the opponent, and then everything else surrounding it is hilarious. Usually like impish ghoul or something, like some stupid little thing that you can just chuckle at.
Yeah, and the card that one gnomish engineer. I hope you like my invention.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the loot hoarder. When you put it down, he's like, "Mind if I roll need?"
Oh yeah, that one's nice.
Yeah, that's
a good buddy
classic.
of mine told me about that card. That's hilarious.
Oh, he got a
But
huge gun.
The Booty Bay guard,
Yeah.
you lay him down, he's like, "Go ahead, get behind me."
That's a cool card too. That's a good taunt card.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As far as I know, I don't know. It could suck. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I lost a lot to the Paladin because I didn't have a whole bunch of cards in my Warlock deck. And the game never specifically tells you while you're in practice modes. It never tells you specifically to go make a custom deck if you don't want to keep losing with the default stock deck of your chosen class. So I kind of just figured that out on my own. It didn't really hold my hand, which I don't really care. But I feel like if this game was to be open to everyone, to all newcomers, they might want to hold your hand a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's a lot easier for us who have played card games or built a deck in some sort of card game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find myself, using just my thoughts from like when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, like how I'd construct a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I'd, do something similar to that in this.
Right.
That diversifying your cards and, between spell cards and low cost minions, etc.
Yeah, and again, this is the beta. They probably will implement things like this because if Blizzard's anything to go by, they polish everything up. So yeah, I kind of just figured out on my own that I can't be losing this badly. I can't suck this bad. I'm generally pretty good at video games. I hope. So I went to go make a deck, and turns out that was very possible. So while deck creation appears intimidating at first, there's this helper tool that streamlines it in like a really educating way.
Yeah.
You hit this button, and then of the cards you have available to choose from, and you can put 30 cards in your deck. The cards you have available to choose from for your class, and then the neutral cards that all classes can use, they throw 3 up there. They're like, why don't you start off with some basic cards that cost 1 mana, and then you choose one of those 3, and then it walks you through the entire process, so you have a very balanced deck. And then it tops you off with, why don't you use these cards to kind of top your deck off? Maybe situational cards, class cards, that kind of thing. So it really helped you get an idea of what you needed your deck to look like. Which nothing helps you better with that than actually playing, but this really streamlined the process of what an otherwise intimidating looking deck creator it was. But it becomes apparent to me what cards I loathe that my opponent plays, particularly the Paladin at the moment. It's like necessary to play all classes in practice mode in order to arm yourself with the familiarity and strategize accordingly. Did you unlock them in order, Ryan? The classes?
They were all unlocked when I got onto your account.
Oh, right, because you and I are sharing an account. What about you,
Right.
Rashad?
But yeah, I mean, I agree about. I mean, the first thing I did was play I picked a class I wanted to play, which was Priest, and I played every different class just to kind of get a feel for their techniques and what kind of cards they're going to have and their hero abilities and everything like that.
Nice.
And then I did the same thing on Expert. And then after I did all that, that was kind of my, preliminary training. And then I started playing actual players, and and it kind of made me realize that even with the early access to the beta, everyone's still kind of feeling out the game and trying to understand all the concepts of it and get into the flow of playing it. And I mean, yeah, I got beat down pretty bad a couple times, but most of the time it'd be a good match, or I'd beat them down or anything like that. I think there's going to be a broad selection of people and who have different skill levels,
Yeah. Who did you primarily play? Priest or the Druid?
I played Druid once actually, and I was excited about it, and I just it never really caught me in that match. Like there was nothing that caught my eye, but I played. Then I moved on to Priest, which, everyone's opinion aside of them being super overpowered.
Yeah.
I love Priest. I love the mind control card. I
love Priest?
Well, I played a Priest in WoW, and I've always had the feeling that Priests sucked. Like, aside from discipline healing, bubbling everything, I felt great about that. I love healing, but I didn't think they were viable at all in PvP or DPS and endgame, like doing shadow or anything. I didn't feel like I was always low on.
They had their time at the end of Cataclysm and DPS. They were top for maybe like 1 or 2 patches.
Yeah, but it was a short time.
Yeah, it was.
And when I was in Cataclysm, I was healing, and I don't know. I love all the cards in the Priest deck, like a lot of the specific tactics and stuff, like just how you can heal every turn, and then there's a specific minion card that every time you heal another minion, you get to draw a card. So I think that's a good tactic as well to kind of get through your deck faster, and then there's a card like Inner Fire or something that doubles your health of a minion, and I would stack that with Power Word Shield, which gives them +2 health. So I'd get them up to 8 and then double it to 16.
Oh God.
And then that was just scary.
That seems to be what like almost every priest I hear about or see does, is the health minion.
Oh yeah.
Tactic.
And then stacking it, there's a certain minion card. It's like a 2/7 card, and every time it's damaged, it gains, I think, 3 attack. So I'd stack it with that, and I've gotten him up to 20 hit points, and every time someone tries to hit him, he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and he won't stop because I'll just keep healing him.
Yeah, and then there's a card that matches attack with health.
Yeah.
And if you get like a tank minion, you basically create a god card.
Yeah.
That wins the game for you. So.
Yeah, that's how I felt with. I played Shaman as well. I extensively played Shaman this morning actually, and I feel their spell cards are pretty silly, honestly. Yeah. Like what do they have? Bloodlust is one of their spell cards, and it gives all your minions +3 attack for a turn. And then the whole Wind Fury card I think is great, because I'd stack Bloodlust with Wind Fury.
What does Bloodlust do?
Bloodlust gives +3 attack to all your minions for a turn.
Okay. Oh, and to clarify, when we say things like 2 and 2, the first number is always going to be attack, and the second number is always going to be health.
But yeah, then Wind Fury lets you attack twice, obviously, and I'd have a strong taunt minion out there to kind of direct all my attention away from my Wind Fury minions, and then I'd have 2 Wind Fury minions, and they'd just, if the enemy didn't have a taunt minion, I'd just totally destroy the hero's health in 2 turns.
Because you get to attack him several times.
Yeah, you can just go straight for his health, and if you're buffed even at all, attacking with 2 minions with at least 5 attack, they're both attacking twice. That's that's 20 hit points. You know, that's
Yeah,
two,
that's
two turns, you're done.
yeah, that's a really good
Yeah.
strategy there.
Yeah, I felt like I definitely felt like Shaman was definitely viable as well.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time deciding when I was having a hard time at the time of me writing this and going to the tutorial. When the prime time to attack the hero's health was, or whether or not I should attack their minions and like kind of wrestle control of the board. I obviously understand better now that it depends on what they have on the board and the danger you're in, and there's all these variables. But there's a lot of elements to mentally juggle, like mana, health, card cost, thinking ahead, your hand, your defense, the opponent's health, their defense, board control, etc.
Yep.
Yet it only takes a little while. And I love this. It only takes us like a little bit to learn to juggle all these different elements, these different concepts effectively. It scratches that strategy game itch, much like a game of chess would, except it's much prettier, right? And it occurs to me the secret weapon of Blizzard, and like any other great video game, is, it quickly becomes apparent. The game is truly enjoyable and is just absolutely rewarding to your brain on a chemical level when you're doing well. It combats fatigue and it boosts morale far more than losing does to harm it. It feels healthy to do well, like you just feel good. I want to play this game when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling down. It's gonna be good for you. Well,
Oh yeah.
unless they nerf. Maybe if they nerf priests.
I hope not.
Yeah.
They nerfed Warrior again, so
Oh,
in the next.
Did they?
Yeah, so Priest might be next on the list because of the last patch.
Yeah.
They said Rogue might be underpowered now, and Warrior and Priest were the two people that were receiving the most complaints. So.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
heard about warriors being overpowered as well, and I played a couple AI warriors and also players, and I don't know, I didn't feel that way, like as much as I feel that way towards priests, because when I was a shaman and I was playing against priests, it was terrible. But I mean, if I was a priest and I was playing a priest, that was the match. That was my favorite match, honestly.
Yeah. I've been trying to master the Warlock. I'm trying all sorts of different things, particularly with its hero power in mind, which you take 2 damage and spend 2 mana, but you get to draw a card. And I'm kind of taking cues from that. Like, perhaps I need to build a deck that focuses on getting as many cards into my hand and out as possible while we're storing health. So I've kind of built decks around that concept. And even with that, which doesn't particularly work amazing, I got maybe 2 and 3 in an arena. I won 2 but lost 3. I've almost always one-shot rogues. Not maybe because they're nerfed, but I don't know. The druid struck me as the most apt to turn the tide of battle, though, because they can constantly raise their mana, and they can put more cards on the table.
Yeah.
I've heard that Warlock, because of the what's it called, the Infernal card. When you summon, I think he's a 6/6.
He's a 6/6/6, and he damages everything for 1 health.
Yes, I heard that card can turn the tide of battle, pretty dramatically.
I didn't think so. I didn't realize that, and then it occurred to me I could set that card up. It requires some setting up. So before you play it, yeah, sure, it has a lot of mana, but before you play it, any cards on the field, if you can, bring everyone to at least 1 health. Doesn't matter what it is, and then play that card, and hopefully your cards will survive. But if not, you can clear the board with that card. So
Yeah.
bring everyone to 1 health, clear the board, and then you have a 6/6 on the map, and they're set up. But I usually get sheeped, so there's that.
Yeah.
Oh god, polymorph.
Polymorph is the worst.
I hate it.
My favorite class card, though, from the Warlock deck is Soulfire. It looks so good with the purple Warlock theme, and the artwork is great. It's like it's just gorgeous artwork. And it's like 4 damage to anything for 0 mana. You don't have to play any mana for it. It's basically a free card. You discard a card, which is kind of a sacrifice.
Right.
But it's like 4 damage to anything. You can go past a taunt, hit the other hero directly. It's really cool.
Mage has a card, Flame Strike, that hits everything for 4 damage.
Oh man.
Which
That
I
card
think,
is, yeah.
I think that's broken. Honestly, that's insane.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. That card is insane.
I'm so tired of the mage's direct attack spells, like the
Yeah.
fireball, the things that hit for like 4 and 6 damage, like directly.
Yep.
Those are powerful. But I guess that's the point of the mage, right?
Yeah, that's been the epitome of mage since the dawn of time, I guess. They're always don't let me get free damage on you, or you will regret it.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's great that they've added, for each class they've added, certain elements of the class that you'd see in WoW. Like if you played a mage in WoW and you're a frost mage, you can freeze something.
Yeah.
And there are cards that if you attack a minion or whatever, it freezes them for their whole next turn, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it's very relevant,
Yeah, definitely.
It faithfully draws upon the source material of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it gets you more familiarized with everything, even if you don't want to.
Which has proved to be a successful theme, obviously, for World of Warcraft, because they've made a boatload of money for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's good fan service in this game.
I mean, it makes us happy, so.
Yeah. And like I said, with the card deck size being like only 30 cards, I find it extremely easy to start to like memorize what your cards do and like make mental data of how they perform, if they're tactically relevant and so on, so that you can better mold a winning deck. A strategic curve is everything. That is a good balance of low cost, medium, and high cost mana cards, which it kind of correlates with your class in different ways. For example, I've been having a lot of success with Warlock with not having so many low mana cost cards as medium, middle, like maybe 3, 4, 5 mana cost cards, because early game not too much is happening, and I can use all of early game to take advantage of the lack of attacks coming in my direction, because they can't play anything too heavily. I can take advantage of that early game to get as many cards in my hand, so I'm absolutely set up for mid game.
I think that's important as well. One thing that got me was I would not early in the game, but I'd stack up my cards, and then once I'd get that high mana, I'd just blow through them, which can be good and bad, because I would do a certain amount of damage to his health, 15 or whatever, and leave him with 15 more, and then I'd be completely out of cards, and he'd just come right back because he has full mana as well. So you kind of have to keep yourself at bay a little, I think.
What do you mean?
Like I feel like you have to keep your hand, keep at least a couple cards in your hand to have some form of retaliation, rather than just throwing everything you have at him at once, unless you know that it'll win you the game. But yeah, I've come across that instance where I've thrown everything at him, done 20 damage, he's still got some health left, and then I have no cards left, and I draw one a turn, and it's always something that I don't need.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you always, with any competitive or multiplayer game, you're going to need to have a good mix of attack and defense, because you don't want to glass cannon it. You don't want to just be like,
right,
boom, and if the boom isn't enough, then you're just kind of screwed.
Yeah, and then they just hit you right back, especially against classes like Warrior or something, which they just completely punch you in the face every turn.
Now, that is to say, Glass Cannon is a viable, way of approaching things too, especially with classes that need a little bit of time to ramp up and get going. And if you can end the game pretty quickly, which there's, people can do that in the arena, I've heard, in like 5 turns.
Right.
So that could work.
It's high risk, though. That's the thing, and that's
Definitely.
what turns people off.
You need a consistent deck in a card game. It has to be consistent for it to be successful.
Yeah, and everyone wants to play it safe, and that's one thing that I felt with the Glass Cannon character. Like, you have to take risks as well, with not only with deck building, but with how you play your cards.
That's also, again, why it works, because you're taking advantage of everyone's carefulness.
Right.
So it could work, especially if you get a good hand which is usually my downfall. The other player had a very good hand, and as soon as they were able to, I saw that some 6/6s on the field, and there's nothing I can do because I'm set up for mid game. There's just not. I'm sorry.
Sorry. There's also that it's going to be hard to get used to all that as well.
Yeah. In play mode after the tutorial, I found that first match like really exhilarating, like playing an actual player, because playing the computer is one thing, and you're setting yourself up mentally for the prospect that you're going to be playing another human player, and it's pretty exciting. But when you get right into it, I was grinning from ear to ear like an idiot. It was just exhilarating. It's a thrill to play back and forth with another psychology, and while the interaction's very minimal, it's just, I don't know, it's a challenge. Like predators like to hunt humans, you know?
Yeah. I thought it was funny. I played a paladin, and paladins, to me, like when I played WoW in PvP, they'd always just stomp all over me.
Yeah.
And anyone playing paladin in WoW can just smack their face against the keyboard and win. And
roll it across the keyboard a few times.
Hey now.
Yeah.
Me and Alex play paladins.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, playing against them in this game, it doesn't feel as much that way. But there was this one guy I played, and he was playing a paladin, and every single time he'd play a card or end his turn, he would hit the emote that said sorry.
Sarcasm's so easy to get across.
Right, and I felt so offended. I was like, oh, a-hole.
I think I mentioned that in maybe episode 1 or 2 show, where the every paladin you see him, you're like, oh, you're one of those guys. Like,
yeah, they're all gonna be like that, I think.
They're like the, I don't know what to call them. It's not a hipster, but it's like those people you just like.
It's like the Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
It's like the Chuck Norris of Hearthstone.
We're too good for you.
Some of the classes have very unique tones in how they say things. I love how the Warlocks is like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, just the tone of their voices is awesome.
Meanwhile, some of their threats are awful. Like, the Paladins is like, justice demands retribution. It's not exactly like a good one-liner after an explosion, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But then after the play mode, I went to open some packs. You get like 1 or 2 packs or something like that. It's a psychological gift in digital presentation. It really is. The visuals are like stupendously charming and rewarding. The only sour thing about it is getting cards for classes that you have no interest in playing.
Right.
Which happens most of the time.
But, I feel like they should have class-specific card packs.
Yeah.
Maybe. That would be maybe for like a little bit more money or something. I don't know, anything like
great
that.
Great idea.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like you said, it sucks that you play a class and the only feel that you have of like that, I'm playing a mage, so like the only thing you have that makes you feel like you're playing a mage is your hero power in the beginning, and
right.
It's like you want, like, I feel like there should be like for each class maybe default cards that it just comes with the class. Like,
yeah,
you know.
I agree. I mean, in the packs though, like there are so many cards that we haven't seen yet. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of class-specific cards that you just have to either go through, jump through hoops to earn them, or buy enough packs to find them.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was watching me play, and she easily followed along, especially when I narrated what I was doing. She picked it up arguably faster than I did, perhaps because I was complicating it, because we've just been dwelling in Hearthstone so much.
Right.
And then to actually play it, I think maybe I just complicated it and made it harder for myself mentally. But she followed along very well, and she's going to play it when it comes out on iPad. It's be pretty sweet. So I'm looking forward to being beaten. by yet another priest probably.
Yeah.
But like I said, I played Arena. I think I said that, and I had to play a paladin. It was one of the three choices. It was either a paladin, a rogue, or a mage. So I went with the paladin because I felt like I would have been most familiar with that with my experience in WoW as a paladin. And then I won 2 and lost 3 because once you lose 3, you're out. And I didn't quite break even. A mage turned the game around when I had her at 3 health and I was around 26 health. So she really turned the game around, and that was my final loss, and that was it. You playing in Arena, Richard?
No, just been kind of. I haven't played much at all. I've just been kind of screwing around in normal games.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, thanks for chilling, Alex. When we get back, I got quite a few things I want you to go over with you, and so we're gonna take a quick break. And when we return, we got quite some meaty topics to go over. For example, how Blizzard is making so much money off of Hearthstone, and it's still in the beta. And I really want to get into how players might like personalize their accounts. So when we return, we'll jump into that. Okay, and we're back. I want to start off by talking about how Blizzard is making just loads of money off of this game, off of Hearthstone, from card purchases, it seems, with players paying up to $300 or more, which is well over the price of a World of Warcraft subscription for a year, which comes around to $180.
Yeah, it's almost double.
Yeah, that's double.
Oh yeah. This game is still in beta too. My question is to you guys: are you dreading the inevitable and mediocre copycats in the industry?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait until the this is the Hearthstone killer.
Oh god, yeah.
I can't wait for those to come out. The obligatory and it's gonna be the hipster games that I don't play Hearthstone because such and such is better.
Yeah. It's unbalanced.
The paladin players are gonna stop playing Hearthstone to play whatever that
Yeah.
Like some Plants vs. Zombies kind of clones, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, people copy the business model, you know?
Yeah.
And then they run it to the ground, and then these trendsetters or the major trend followers, they have to come up with something new. And while it is good that all these companies compete for our money, it does get a little dull. It can burn out pretty easily on these models.
Yeah. Just look at Minecraft.
Yeah.
I mean,
good example.
There's Minecraft, and then there's a shit ton of. There's a lot of. There's a lot of clones that use the whole block pixelated interface.
Oh yeah, all over the App Store too.
Yeah, and not just that, on Steam too.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere. I mean, look at MMOs in the last 10 years, 5 years, you know.
Which one, right?
Yeah, God.
And now everything's becoming free to play and freemium, and I'm not sure I'm crazy about the model. Like it's kind of annoying because I don't like being bothered to buy stuff or being tempted to pay for something. I'd rather just pay for. I'm one of those people that would rather pay for all of my content all at once, and then if I choose, I can choose to buy some DLC down the road.
Yeah, same here.
I don't want to end up paying more over the long run by paying a very little here and there.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like how you can either earn or buy your cards.
Right. Even though it's going to take forever. But yeah, you can.
Right. I mean, I know personally when I actually get my own account, I'm going to be dropping at least $10 on cards.
And you know, with dropping like 300 or so on the game, which I imagine, is everyone there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I imagine looks great to Blizzard because not only have they potentially sold one copy of WoW to you, they've sold all of its expansions to you like several times over. So they're making so much money. They're doing more than just breaking even over that. Man, this game is going to break even so quickly. But with spending that much money, you're going to come up with most, if not all, of the cards very quickly, and I feel like that's a great way to burn out of the game. You're going to run out of stuff to do.
Yeah. I mean, you could always make a deck in every different class, and then try and further your skill in every class. I mean, I guess you could do that.
Yeah, maybe tournament play.
Yeah.
But as far as RPG elements go, blowing all this money on this game to get every card kind of breaks the game and takes a huge shortcut in all the gameplay and enjoyment that I think could be had, at least for me.
And challenge as well. It's going to be. I mean, it's harder for someone who just starts out with basic cards, doesn't really have anything that stands out, as opposed to this guy who spent $300 on cards and has all these rare, crazy cards or spell cards, or and then builds a roll face paladin deck, and then just murders everyone.
Right. How do you feel about like customization? Do you feel like there's like 9 classes in the game to play as, and they're all specific to all these characters are specific to their class. Like you could never play a warrior without being Thrall. It's so restrictive in that sense.
Garrosh.
Oh, Garrosh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, come on, guys. How might players like personalize their accounts? Like in the future, I think it's a no-brainer. Like StarCraft has 3 races, but loads of avatars. Diablo has banners. In a game that offers paid content, it just seems like such an obvious thing to do. Especially you could charge people like 99 cents to have different artwork for Thrall.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because what League of Legends does, they have skins for champions. And I was thinking maybe in Hearthstone they could add maybe the warrior, instead of it being Garrosh, it could be another warrior character from World of Warcraft, or maybe even a different artwork on your character, the hero slot or whatever.
I agree.
Garrosh with green skin.
Yeah.
Why's it got to be green?
But no, I think they're gonna do it. I think they just haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's not an indication of, if they're gonna do it or not in the full release.
Yeah. I would easily pay 50 cents to $1. Hell, I would pay $5 maybe for a different loadout of emotes where he says sorry in a different way.
Or some other phrase.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Canadian Garrosh. Sorry.
All of his emotes say sorry.
Yeah.
No, that belongs to the paladin.
Like a lot like in Saints Row, how you could have that English guy. What's his name? You could have him as your character's voice. You know what I'm talking about?
You mean? I don't think he has a name. He's just the British voice.
No, he's some
But-
dude.
Oh wait, you mean Nolan North?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I always played as the Cockney accent.
Oh, okay.
No, let's talk about that. But anyway,
Do you think the complaints found in like Blizzard's other games, like World of Warcraft, on those forums and stuff, that you could, they're so cliche at this point, right? You think those complaints will show up in Hearthstone? Like, this game's so casual, more like Casual Stone or Esports Stone.
as
Right.
if you didn't for a second know that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
What do you think some of the complaints or arguments might be?
I've already heard Magic players are like, that game's so simple. It's kind of basically what Dota players say to League of Legends players. The game takes no skill. All you need to do is flash and you win. And if you've
Yeah.
played League of Legends, you'll understand what people mean by all you need to do is flash and win.
And the people that are playing it, they're like, well, it's not as simple as that, right?
Yeah, and of course you're gonna defend the game that you enjoy. I mean, I'm not gonna get in a heated debate or anything, or an argument or anything like that.
Yeah.
but-
I will.
Our
but,
lore guy will.
I mean,
Played 10 minutes of Dota 2.
yeah,
League of Legends
it's,
sucks.
It's there.
I'm just kidding.
Can't believe I played the game.
Well, with the focus on like speaking of esports, will the focus on esports in Hearthstone, which is obviously what they're doing, what with their invitational to Blizzard and everything, and their obvious move into the esport genre with Heroes of the Storm as their MOBA. Do you think the focus on esports will affect the direction of this game, And if so, like for the best or for the worst, do you think it's going to implement design elements that might drive casuals away, or do you think it's still going to be friendly? Do you think they can do this while still being user friendly?
Probably. Blizzard always has a good handle on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
With in WoW, their recent changes to the game like interface and questing and all the like just gameplay mechanics in general have been shifted towards casual players. So I think Hearthstone will probably have a lot of that too, where it's like really easy to pick up, but at the same time they do a good job of having the hardcore player content that rewards people for playing the game way more than an average player. So I think they did a great job with that, especially in Mists of Pandaria, and I wouldn't be surprised if they brought that effort over into Hearthstone.
Yeah. Do you feel like this game is going to blow up to be an esport, Richard, like League of Legends, where it's going to fill arenas and people can go and watch, and it's going to be huge like that? People cheering, watching huge big screens? Do you think Hearthstone's capable of that? What with the short games and everything? It's like 10-minute games, right?
See,
Yeah,
I don't think not just Hearthstone, but any card game in general will be. I won't say ever, but right now I don't see that happening simply because card games aren't the most exciting thing to watch. But at the same time, there hasn't been a card game as beautiful as Hearthstone. The animations and all that stuff.
Plus, this is digital. It's easy to put up in
Yeah.
media.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because I've played other digital card games like SoulForge, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good as Hearthstone, and that's purely budget, of course. But I don't know. I think maybe Hearthstone could be a giant step towards that, but I don't think Hearthstone will reach that level of popularity simply because people already frown upon card games as like, oh, you still play Pokemon?
Right.
It's obvious
And, like-
there's the progressive popularity in this that was pushing those thoughts, kind of to the
Yeah.
side, and it's getting more popular.
Mm-hmm. So it could, but I wouldn't I'm not gonna say I think it will.
Would you play Hearthstone competitively, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, if I could, if I was at that skill level, and I mean, it's not uncommon for Blizzard to put out a game that's could potentially be an esport. I mean, they've done it. StarCraft's a freaking religion in Korea.
Yeah, I feel it's very intimidating to try to get good enough to be able to compete on that level of professionalism.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a lot of experience and practice in the game,
And
which
free
I
time.
mean, yeah, and
Oh,
free time.
definitely.
I mean, I think all of us are gonna have enough time to play this as as much as we want, really, and kind of build that skill.
But then again, so is everyone else. So it's like inflation, right? You just kind of rise with it.
Right. I mean, but that's the beauty in the game, It's all about. A lot of it, actually, I think, has to do with, just like any other card game, has to do with how your cards draw as well. A lot of it is chance,
Yeah.
unless you have, the perfect deck, where anything can synergize together. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's going to be better for those who invest a lot more time into it.
Yeah. You know what just occurred to me? People that are playing this game now, it's a closed beta, right? People that are playing this game now, they're going to be the people that are interested in it or that are gamers, right? A random Joe on the street is not going to get a beta key.
Right, you have to sign up.
Right, your girlfriend's not going to get a beta key.
Yep.
You're going to be into this. You're going to have participated in a contest. You're going to have opted in. This is going to be a desire that you play. So everyone that's in the beta wants to play the beta, is interested in this stuff, and is usually not awful at this stuff. So I'm thinking, what with launch, and this is open up to everyone and anyone can come to it, you think once launch happens, Hearthstone is out there for everyone. This game is going to get like just stupendously easier. You think it's just hard right now?
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who haven't gotten into the beta who are interested, who who are going to invest a lot of time and potentially a lot of money in it as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be a good blend of new people to the genre or to the Warcraft universe who just want to check it out because it's free,
Yeah.
And then, they obviously won't jump into the genre with extreme skill, but there are going to be people who haven't touched the game yet, who have just been reading on it and watching streams, who will be able to pick it up easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there'll be some challenge there, not only in the people who are playing in the beta.
I'm a little worried about the pressure that the current player base in this game is going to give to the Hearthstone team about the game getting so easy. When a bunch of players that are new to it and they come in and they're obviously going to be filling the pool with new meat per se, and these players are going to have to get acclimated to the game and they're not going to be so good quite yet. I'm a little worried about all the feedback from these players that the game's getting so easy, and they're going to be complaining about there's not enough competition, or their leaderboards are messed up, and they have to beat a bunch of noobs before they can start playing against other good players again. I'm worried that that's going to affect the direction of the gameplay. But I have a question for you, Alex, that involves your kind of alienated perspective on Hearthstone, as you're not currently playing in the beta in any way at the moment. What are your opinions? From what you can tell on the social interaction with you right click your character and you have an option of like thank you, greetings, and so on. What are your opinions on like that social interaction? You think it's enough? Because that's all you can do. And like, would you want more? And keep in mind, like card games are social games after all, right? What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, it would be nice if they could kind of implement a like after you win or lose or the game's over, basically, that you could have a little chat function. But as far as being in game, yeah, that's really all you need. Because think about it. Think about the player base. Well, not necessarily the player base, but just people in general. If you are playing a competitive game one-on-one with somebody, and you have the ability to chat with someone, or let's say someone has the ability to chat with you, what do you think they're going to say to you?
L to P, noob.
Yeah.
Worse things than that. So
yeah,
this is gay.
to have something or have a set of pre-created emotes, it gives you just enough to kind of have some sort of interaction without allowing people to abuse the interaction system.
Yeah, I would argue it's already too much because it's so easy to be sarcastic with it, you know?
Well, yeah, but I mean that's a necessary evil.
Ryan experienced
Yeah.
that firsthand.
yeah.
What with you
I mean,
actually playing it, Ryan, like how do you feel about it? What with your experience with it?
I mean, I agree with Alex. I think it's as in-depth as Blizzard was kind of allowed to do. I mean, aside from, having your BattleNet friends that you could have conversations with.
Oh, of
'cause
course.
They're implementing that, and that'll be fine. But, yeah, I mean, you could be playing some 11-year-old kid, and you have voice chat, and then, you beat him, and you're like, haha, you suck, I'm going to kill your family or something. That'll scar him for life,
Yeah.
See, I think it's necessary for them just to have these emotes, but I do think that they should, like you said earlier, offer something in an eShop that you could buy to kind of spice them up, or maybe some new ones.
You know what I think why they'll probably never change this is because people could start trading wins.
Oh, that's true.
Yep. People could start, you could add each other and then you could start trading wins maybe and kind of grind for gold, which could be combated by the low grind it is when you're just doing constructed. But a lot of these online games like Grand Theft Auto and so on, after you play an online match with someone, you're welcome to continue playing with them again if you like the match, or you can add them as a friend and start chatting. Maybe they could implement some of those, but it's interesting to see how they'll handle all that. Well, that's about all I got for Hearthstone. What else have you guys been playing? The new Trevor's actor in GTA 5, he was on the news. He said the torture scene in that game was like just another day at the office. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Yeah. I think he probably said a lot of that just to keep the image of his character in the media,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Because that is something the actual character Trevor would say. Or maybe he could be pulling a Heath Ledger and now he's stuck in character. You never know.
It's a good character, though.
He is a very good
Yeah.
character.
I mean, that'll affect. I would do the same thing, like that would affect maybe his business with Rockstar. If he said, "Yeah, I don't agree with the torture scene," blah blah blah, and then Rockstar hears it, they're like, "Okay, well, we won't employ you in our next game."
He doesn't want to repeat the same that Nico Bellic did. His voice actor, he was like, I didn't get paid enough, and he basically ruined his connection with Rockstar.
Yeah, and that lost him
A lot of
a
money.
lot of money.
He'll probably never be in DLC unless they get a different voice actor to kind of mimic it.
Right.
Did you guys see that Kingdom Hearts 3 footage?
Yeah.
It looks like more or less the same, but it looks fun.
It looks like it's going to be more fluid. I mean, the graphics look relatively the same,
Right.
But I mean, obviously a little better.
Is this one supposed to be on the PlayStation?
It's on the PS4. And it's the last. I think the last console Kingdom Hearts was on the PlayStation 2. It was Kingdom Hearts 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and the last one that was released is the one I just got on the DS, Dream Drop Distance, and that the graphics on that are great, but it's going to be a significant leap between graphics.
Right.
Definitely.
That there was a golden themed Zelda. I mean, a Zelda golden themed like 3DS that was announced, and I'm so mad.
Yeah, seeing as we both just bought one.
Right.
I mean, I felt that way as well about the Pokemon one, like the X and Y one. I went and bought a DS XL, and then they released the Pokemon ones like the day after.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I hope the stylus is like a Master Sword. That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
The Watch Dogs was delayed. It's a pretty big deal.
Now that is something that almost made me cry.
Yeah, same here.
Ubisoft is not doing great with their money, though. It's released until the next fiscal year for them, which is maybe like April, maybe. But all the pre-order bundles that those were with, all that's been complicated. Like Target is canceling PS4 pre-order bundles that have that game, which is not cool, as Kotaku likes to say. But however, most stores like I think Walmart maybe, or at least Amazon, they're still honoring the PS4, the bundles. So you might just get a different game or something else instead. That's pretty cool. So what other games have you guys been playing? I wanted to ask you, Alex, about Beyond, because you beat that, right?
Oh yeah, I beat it about 3 days after 2 days after I rented it. And that's not to say it's an extremely short game. Relatively, it's pretty short, considering I had just come off of GTA 5. Still haven't finished it. But, yeah, I mean, it takes a solid maybe 20 hours or so. Very, very cinematic. In terms of being an actual game, it's a lot like Heavy Rain, but very streamlined and a lot. Basically, you don't have as many quick time events or that sort of thing. Mostly during the action scenes, it's just throw your right stick in a certain direction. But that's okay because what it means to do, as in tell a story, it does extraordinarily well. I'll be honest, this game had me in tears at a couple of points. It was just beautiful.
What about Ellen Page?
Amazing actor for this role.
Yeah. Do you want to see her animated model nude?
Yes.
I think we all do.
I've been reading. Apparently, somebody got I forget what it's called, a debugged console.
Yeah.
And actually, enabled free camera and got those.
Oh yeah, that's what I was referencing that, which is is kind of sad. I could care less, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of actual free, similar things on the internet.
I'd rather see the IRL model of Ellen Page.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She looks like she's
This really just happened.
Yeah. What have you been playing, Ryan?
Well, aside from Hearthstone, still Pokemon. I'm still trucking along on that, but I haven't been getting as much progress because of said video game.
Yeah, I haven't been playing too much of it either. I'm only after my second badge.
Yeah, I just got my fourth, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I don't care what you've been playing, Richard. No, I'm just kidding. What's that?
I recently finished the campaign for GTA 5.
Oh wow. How long did that take you?
Well, I was only playing over the weekends at my friend's house, so it took me. I don't know what my final completion time was, but it was probably.
How many weekends?
2. It took
Wow.
3 really 3. But I don't know. My final play time might have been around 5 or 6 hours.
I gotcha.
And
that's just for the campaign, right? The story.
Yeah, I haven't touched online, and I completely did no side missions at all. I was drawn in by the story so much.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then I'm still trying to get to competitive level on League of Legends.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty good. You gonna play that competitively? You gonna make some money off of that?
That's the dream.
That's the dream. You gonna Twitch stream it?
Yeah, that's where I'm headed.
Good luck with that, man.
Thanks.
I myself have not been at the computer all week due to work, but I have had my 3DS.
That's cool.
Okay. I have had my 3DS with me, and I've been playing some Pokemon. I've been playing a lot of the remake of Ocarina of Time, and it holds up pretty well, but I don't remember it being so, the world being so closed. I remember the world being much bigger and having more of an open feel, but it's definitely more linear than I remember it being. But I guess games have just changed so much since then.
It's because you were smaller when you last played it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Translated directly into the video
Imagine
game.
playing Skyrim and then playing that.
Oh man, yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
There's no choice. You can choose to go somewhere else and then waste your time, but yeah. What occurred to me I had forgotten is that having played the game, I know the things that happen, and I know the kind of the order they happen in, but it kind of ruins my experience because I don't have a natural curiosity, and the game has a way of naturally holding your hand and kind of leading you and pulling you towards a different direction, especially because they've put in a bunch of hand-holding stuff now that really helps you move along to the next point as compared to the N64 version. I'll go do things out of order, and because there's no sort of fast travel, I'll try to go to a temple that I'm not ready for yet, or I'll go all the way up to Death Mountain, which is quite a trek, to go through a door, and I don't have the item that I need to get through that door, or the song, and I have to go all the way back across the map, so I end up going out of order, and I waste a bunch of time. But the models, like I said, are gorgeous and it looks great. And then I also bought Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, which is a massively underrated game and is kind of hard to find, I found. I highly recommend it, Ryan. You can play all the old Final Fantasy soundtrack songs, well, most of them, in a Guitar Hero kind of fashion. It's really, really cool. And all the little characters from Final Fantasy are all little kind of like avatar sprite-looking guys. It's just massively underrated. I recommend picking it up. I got it used at GameStop for like $20. It's pretty sweet. Other than that, nothing else has been going on, really. Just playing a little bit of Hearthstone like you guys. That is Richard and Ryan. Sorry, Alex. Did you guys see Gravity?
No.
No, haven't seen that yet.
None of you have seen it?
What is
Watch
Gravity?
it.
Oh, man. Gravity is doing extremely well at the box office. It's a very... it's a space movie, man. And it's doing well enough, and it's getting enough acclaim, whereas... astrophysicist, I think that's the term. They're coming on and saying, excuse me, no, this couldn't happen. Which, who cares, right? You gotta have some suspension of disbelief. But it's about these guys. It starts out in space. It's all in space, really, except for the very end. No spoilers. It's got Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, and it's a very personal story between these two guys, these two actors in space, and everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And one of my favorite things about it is seeing something in space where it's a vacuum and there's no sound, just violent stuff happening, like explosions and just space equipment being ripped and torn apart by asteroids and everything. It's so visceral and enthralling to witness in silence how viciously violent it is. It's just absolutely great. Go see it before it's out in IMAX 3D. It's wonderful. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. almost played Clooney's part, which would have been great. Well,
oh man.
Oh yeah, that would have been awesome.
Well, I say that because I like Robert Downey Jr. far more than Clooney, but considering the part, you'll see it and you'll be like, no, Clooney nailed it. He's the cool guy. He's a cool guy. It had no room for arrogance like Robert Downey Jr. brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, George Clooney's always had that kind of cool guy sense.
When does he not play that role, right? But Sandra Bullock is...
Burn After Reading?
I hadn't seen it.
I mean, it's like he's like Christopher Walken. He just plays the same character in every movie.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
But Sandra Bullock looks really good in this movie. Her legs are nice looking. I can say that because my girlfriend said it. But it's got a bunch of consistent camera pans, like a bunch of consistent shots where it doesn't change shots too often. There's a bunch of panning and all that. Just Space Lovers is great, but if you're afraid of being lost in space or anything like that, would not recommend it.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, but it's really good, man. It's really good.
Yeah.
Anything else going on with you guys?
Nothing really. Just.
Nope.
All right. Well, why don't we wrap up shop here? Alex, where can people find you and your other podcast?
I am at Bear Hug Productions on Facebook. We also have a website called bearhugproductions.com. You can find my Twitter at Crusader Wallora. I think that's all for me.
What's your lore segment going to be on today?
Going to be on the Paladin, Uther Lightbringer.
Nice. Looking forward to that. What about you, Richard? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ExodusRB. You can find me on YouTube. It's just youtube.com/Richard Burrell. And I think that's pretty much it for me.
Sweet. Looking forward to more of that swag cam. That's pretty good stuff. What about you, Ryan? You have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan M. Drover. And yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. And please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can find us at facebook.com/duelistdiscussion. And then visit our site, and you could listen to or subscribe directly to our feed at duelistdiscussion.squarespace.com. And then if you have any questions or comments or anything, we might read those on the show. Email us at duelistdiscussion@gmail.com. And I'm also on Twitter at Devin_Casey. Well, it's been a great show, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Of course.
Yep, it's time to get some League of Legends on the road.
Sounds good.
Do you even lift?
A little bit. All right. Stay tuned for Alex's lore segment. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Yeah.
Hello again, and welcome to another lore segment about the heroes of Hearthstone. Today we're going to discuss the Paladin hero, Uther the Lightbringer. Uther was the very first Paladin in existence. He was part of a movement by Archbishop Alonsus Fowl to bring military might to the Church of Light during the First War after Stormwind fell to the Orcs. This order of Paladins was called the Order of the Silver Hand, of which Uther became the leader. He was heavily involved in the Second War, and got his nickname Lightbringer from another paladin named Turalian after the Battle of Blackrock Spire, in honor of his adeptness in wielding the holy light in battle and rallying the troops. After this battle, he led an assault on the Dark Portal while the wizard Khadgar destroyed it. A few years later, the Dark Portal reopened and Turalian led a force called the Sons of Lothar onto the Orcish homeworld of Draenor. After they shut down the portal a second time and were lost in Outland, Uther continued serving the Alliance and taught Prince Arthas Menethil to become a paladin. Uther and Arthas were close allies and considered each other to be family and fought together in some of the battles leading to the Third War. During these battles, Arthas became corrupted and blinded by hate, and when they came to the defense of Stratholme and discovered that the town was infected by the undead plague, Arthas ordered Uther to purge the city and kill all the inhabitants, living or dead. Uther refused to do so, and Arthas formally charged Uther with treason and disbanded the Order of the Silver Hand. Arthas engaged the demon Mal'Ganis and departed for Northrend. When he returned to Lordaeron, he was wielding a new sword and killed his father, King Taranis Menethil. Taranis was cremated, and Uther was charged with guarding the urn containing his remains. Arthas attacked the town, holding the urn, in order to claim it for his own purposes. And while it pained Uther greatly to engage his former friend and pupil, he fought Arthas and his undead minions. Arthas, however, proved to be too powerful and killed Uther without hesitation. His body was ensconced in a great tomb and can be found in the Western Plague Lands.